Hi guys, and welcome back to When the Dust Settles. We're reviewing Leeds United going away to what is now the G-Tech Stadium, the old Griffin Park. Brentford won, Leeds United won. Truthfully, on the back of the result, I can't help but feel a little bit frustrated that we didn't go and take the win. Obviously, running up to the game, I think most fans, certainly me, I was of the opinion that a point would have been a more than acceptable result. Actually, a great result. You know, we don't travel particularly well. Well, we don't travel well at all this season outside of beating Wolves. We don't travel well to London normally. I don't really subscribe to it as being a massive issue, but that is the truth. That is the reality. And, you know, Brentford have also been very good at home. They've actually seen only the fourth best return of points in the Premier League so far this season when playing at home. So I think with all that in mind, we would have absolutely taken a point out of the game going into the match. However, the way that the game played out wasn't really like that. We actually played extremely well. We set up well, we stifled them, we limited them to very little. The first half kind of went well in our favour, exactly as you would want an away performance to go. And we will come to talking about the referee at some point during this as well. But yeah, with the game set up in exactly the way that you would want an away side to set up. The 5-3-2 allows us to maintain control in a different way. It covers up the gaps. It really covers our deficiencies. The likes of Pascal Struijk and his deficiencies don't get shown up as much because he's got more support. We get the best out of some of our better players in the likes of Anton Stack, who is really able to impose himself on the game. I think Ethan Ampadu's are better in a 3. I think you see the best out of Dominic Calvert-Lewin when you're going more direct rather than asking him to get involved in build-up play, in short, sharp passing. And we're seeing the best of Dominic Calvert-Lewin right now. We'll come to him as well. So yeah, the first half kind of played out in the way that you would absolutely hope it to, travelling away from home. And the goal comes against the run of play. You know, the goal comes from pretty much nothing. They make one individual personnel change that changes the flow of one attack. That was pretty much it. Mikkel Damsgaard comes on. He's got the capabilities and the ability to be able to pick that pass and make the difference in what was ultimately, even though I think we were the better side, a tight game. So Damsgaard comes on, picks that pass, and it leads to Brentford scoring really against a run of play. And it's funny because in the aftermath of the game, Daniel Farke actually says that he was looking to make changes at that point within the 3-5-2. But when you're then chasing the game, he needs to go to the 4-2-3-1. He clearly sees the 4-2-3-1 as being a more attacking formation, which makes sense. You've got, 3 attackers really instead of, the 4-2-3-1 really is a 4-3-3, or it can be classed as a 4-3-3, however you kind of want to brandish it. It's probably a more attacking and aggressive system than the 3-5-2. The 3-5-2 relies so heavily on the wing backs getting involved in the attacks and the ball going quickly up to the front two. And I think when you're when you're in front of the game or level in a game, you can play off them moments, which we did. Noah Okafor got in and around Calvert-Lewin several times. I actually think if we'd have gone into the half-time interval 2 goals to the good, we probably would have been saying, you know what, it's fair. Okafor has 2 really good chances, and then he has a half chance from a volley that goes over the bar. We easily could have seen 1 or 2 of them go in. So I think it's a really interesting kind of conundrum when it comes to the formations and the tactics. My question with regards to the 3-5-2 has always been, how do you make changes within it to change the game? Because the profiles of players that we've got don't fit the 3-5-2 off the bench. Joe Perreault, I don't think really fits the way that we're going direct. He would fit a 2 up front formation, of course, but he doesn't fit it if it's going direct. He's not quick enough to get in and around Calvert-Lewin, and he's certainly not the physical presence that you play off. We've seen that before. So, the likes of Brendan Aronson, where do you bring Brendan Aronson on? Do you play him in a midfield 3? I don't think so. What about Willie Gnonto? Gnonto would have to be the second striker and floating amongst the creative areas of the pitch out wide. I don't really see if that would work. Ilya Gruev, he can't come on and change the game from a positive point of view. If we want him to be more creative within the 3-5-2, you've got the 3 midfielders on the pitch that will do that within Tanaka, Stack and Ampadu, and then Longstaff potentially would be, replacement for that when he's back fit. So it just leaves me with a lot of questions as to 3-5-2, how you change the formation. But Daniel Farke said he was going to do that, so it will be interesting to see whether we can change a game to go on and win it within the 3-5-2 formation with what we've already got. January will be interesting on that. So the second half plays out in the way that it does, and they score against the run of play. I'm delighted that Calvert-Lewin obviously gets on the end of that, and it's a fantastic header. Like, it's a world-class header, actually. And I've got to say, I'm super impressed with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's now scored in 4 straight consecutive Premier League games for the first time. I think it was in 4 years. He's the first player to do it for Leeds United since Mark Viduka, which tells you it's a long time. It's, 20 years since the Duke did that for us. So, he really is showing his critics that he's still got it. And, I think for a lot of people with Calvert-Lewin, it was all about fitness. It was about what is he capable of? Is his body going to be there to be relied on? Or is it going to break down again? We've seen this with Patrick Bamford, so we're hopeful. Calvert-Lewin played a lot of games last season. He was fit and available for a lot of Everton's games last season. And it was his form and his goal-scoring kind of exploits that were questioned. It's been 18 months to 2 years now since he's had a significant injury. So it's trending in the right direction as far as Leeds United are concerned anyway. And he leaps like a salmon. It's a great goal. And not just the goal, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin's all-round game yesterday once again was excellent. He really caused Brentford, I think, in the first half, a lot of problems. He was bullying the centre-backs and he was allowing Okafor to play off of them knockdowns and the link-up play. The midfield were getting involved. Anton Stack was picking up great spots and positions in and around Calvert-Lewin. The full-backs were as well, Jayden Bogle, especially in that first half, and he became the championship Cafu again for a fair part of that second half. Really got on the ball, was being skillful, was being tricky, getting into great areas, and we caused them a lot of problems down that right hand side in the second half too. So yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me deserves all of the credit that he's currently getting. And if he can continue his trend, there is an outside chance that he stands a chance of getting on the plane for the World Cup. Depending on the availability of the players come the World Cup period where players are going to be getting that call. Ollie Watkins has had a bit of a stop-start season. He's now starting to score. Ivan Toney, is in Saudi and not really playing. He's also getting into trouble off the pitch. Outside of that, and obviously Harry Kane, who will be the number one man, there isn't a lot of choices up there. Jared Bowen would probably be the other one that you would look at, and he's not really an out-and-out centre-forward. So it will be interesting to see if Dominic Calvert-Lewin can potentially play himself into the reckoning. If he continues with the trend that he's on, he will definitely be within the manager's kind of thinkings going into who he decides to put on the plane. So yeah, fair play to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's proven all of his critics wrong at the minute, and he is going to be an absolutely huge part of whether we stay up or go down this season. Keeping Dominic Calvert-Lewin fit, for me, is absolutely essential to Leeds United's success this season. It's as simple as that. Coming to the referee, just want to talk quickly on the referee. The standard of officiating within this country is at an all-time low. And yesterday, for me, was the worst refereeing Premier League performance I've seen, certainly this season. It's easy for me to be kind of dramatic about it in the moment, but the performance of the official yesterday was absolutely horrific. The decision to give a penalty against Gabby Goodmunson, I don't even think the referee sees it. I think he's following the ball and sees the end of the situation where I think it was Atara, is just throwing himself to the floor. Gabby barely even touches him. Now, VAR should have just ruled this straight away out, but they wait for the offside, and it's hard. We're unsure whether it was decided that they'd look at the offside before the actual foul. It took so long that it makes me think that they were going to give it if it wasn't offside, but I don't know. But the level of that decision is horrendous. If you're going to give that, you need to then give, I would say, 7, 8, 9, 10 penalties a game. There was one moment after where I think it was Pascal Struijk was pulled in the box. It was the same level of contact. Obviously, it wasn't given. Rightly so, it wasn't given. But if that's the standard that you're gonna, say is deemed as a penalty, like not just a free kick, a penalty, then you've got to give it. And this, even more so, the one in the second half on Calvert-Lewin was an absolute stonewall. That is a penalty. And certainly, if he's going to give that one in the first half, that is a stone waller. So I just find the officials kind of bizarre yesterday, and there were a lot of other decisions within the running of the game that really seemed to be inconsistent. I think that's the worst type of refereeing, inconsistent refereeing. You can handle a firm referee, you can handle a soft given referee if all of the decisions are exactly the same for both teams. And yesterday the referee proved that he wasn't capable of doing that. So I think in conclusion, yesterday's game was one on the back of Chelsea and Liverpool that was really a must not lose for Farke and Leeds United. We've shown now that we're capable of back to back getting results in the Premier League. We've shown and proven to ourselves as well as others that we're capable of going away from home and picking up points. It's not just all about winning games, it's about picking them points up where you can. We end up going behind against the run play, but again we show the resolve to come back and take something from the game. And ultimately that has to be seen as a success. We can stay up purely based on our home form. And the odd point here or there, the odd win here or there away from home will be absolutely vital come game week 38. We are still trending on that 1 point per game. We are looking competitive. We're not looking like a Southampton or a Leicester or an Ipswich or a Luton or even a Burnley or a Wolves from this season. We are looking to be the mould breaker. I truly believe, and I've said this several times on the West Yorkshire Football Show and on these streams as well, if Sunderland were in and around us in the table or below us in the table, I think that most Leeds fans would be absolutely delighted with how these 16 games have got. But because Sunderland are breaking the mould even further than we are, I think the Leeds fans can't help but be hypercritical. I've had comments within some of these videos already saying all I do is blame it on agendas. Well, if you still have a problem with Daniel Farke on the back of this last 4 games, you have an agenda. I'm sorry, that is the reality. And if you want to label that at my door, that all I say is that you've got agendas, well, fine. Yeah, because you have. It's not difficult, and it's not also difficult to just say, look, he's shown differences. And the facts are is a lot of people don't really understand what they're watching. They think that they do. They see the ball move around and they think that the 3-5-2 is this perfect solution now because it's got a couple of half-decent results. Bear in mind, at the time of us being 2-0 down at Liverpool, we were in the 3-5-2. We come back to draw that game 3-3 in the 4-2-3-1. People don't understand that there's still tactics assigned to the way that a formation is set up. The tactics that got the result in the performance and deserved 3 points yesterday were Daniel Farke's tactics and system with his players executing it in a certain style. It's not just put them in 3-5-2 and that's how they play. This is not Football Manager. So those of you that can't accept that 2025-26 Daniel Farke is a decent, okay Premier League manager that's capable of making us competitive and picking up points, the reality is telling you that you're wrong. You want to be proven right because you've said for 2 years that he was crap at Norwich, so he's going to be crap at Leeds in the Premier League. You're wrong. Sorry. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm absolutely delighted with a point overall. The way that the game played out, we should maybe have been taking 3 points, and it could be absolutely huge come the end of the season. But alas, we didn't get the 3 points over the line, but we do maintain our unbeaten run. 5 points out of them last 3 games isn't a bad return at all. We've had Manchester City in there as well, and we were minutes away from taking a point away from the Etihad. So we have to be happy with the way that things are trending at the minute. West Ham keep on losing. I think it's 6 unbeaten now, 5-6 unbeaten. Wolves and Burnley are probably already resigned to the fact that they're going to be 2 of them spots. And we, along with Fulham, Brentford, I think are still going to be in and around it. I think Forest will be absolutely fine. We just need to keep on maintaining our level of performances, and these points will come through. They will come through the door. So thank you so much for watching. Drop a like, drop a subscribe on the channel. Really do appreciate it. I do want to continue to kind of make this, and this is an open forum, guys. I've done this is more of a pre-record today rather than a live stream, but I do encourage and really value comments and direct involvement within the streams. I want to make it a communal channel for everybody. It isn't a dictatorship. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.